first, followed by a PowerPoint presentation to be given by the three secretaries. Afterwards, we'll have a Q&A session. Over to you, Mr. Chief Secretary. Good afternoon, everyone. On Wednesday, the Chief Executive delivered the 2025 policy address. It has outlined a clear and robust blueprint for Hong Kong's future development. Today, together with the three secretaries here, I will introduce the key policy initiatives concerning education, talent, labor, youth, and community care. Education is the cornerstone for nurturing future pillars of our society. In this year's policy address, a number of measures are proposed for the development of Hong Kong into an international education hub. The Northern Metropolis University Town is a key engine for the development of the Northern Metropolis. We have reserved 90 hectares of land. Industry-led approach, align with national strategies, and do it step by step, advance the strategically significant projects. The first step of land in Conf, site foundation was not completed. The university town will present traditional models will foster synergistic development and deep integration between education and industry. This is to ensure expanded capacity and international education. Development models for university towns both in the mainland and overseas for growth. Propose innovative ideas for development conceptual framework, development model, and strategy, working with comprehensive For the 2020 development year, the number of in a 15% increase. These students came from all over the world, involving 100 countries and regions. If we look at the first year, first degree places for some universities, the number of local students that looked at the previous exceeded local intake by 30%. The policy address proposes to further raise the enrollment ceiling for local students to 50%. At the same time, to increase in student prospects for life, through setting up a task force for studying in Hong Kong, step up as an efforts to attract overseas talent. This working plan will root here, especially with many opportunities for Hong Kong. use of the supplementary labor scheme while we combat abuse of the scheme. Targeted poverty alleviation has been a consistent strategy of this current term government. In the coming year, we will enrich the activities to be organized and described in the RISE Alumni Club. We will introduce 6 more community living rooms. We will encourage more schools to take part in school-based and after-school care services. We will also inject funds to the child development providing young
Thank you so much. I will now highlight key education-related initiatives in this year's policy address. With the rapid development of education, Hong Kong is entering a golden era for education. We must seize these opportunities and leverage our strength with the younger generation to face the future, contributing to the development of Hong Kong and the nation. At present, Hong Kong is the only city in the world with 5 universities ranked among the global top 100. 4 of our universities are listed among the top 10 most international institutions, and 6 academic disciplines have made the global top 10. These achievements affirm the quality and strength of Hong Kong's education system, highlighting the advantages of one country, 2 systems. A dedicated task force for study in Hong Kong will be established to strengthen collaboration with relevant policy bureaus. A large-scale promotional campaign will be launched with strategic outreach plans and joint overseas missions by universities to promote the study in Hong Kong brand. The goal is to attract top-tier teaching and research talent as well as students from both mainland and abroad to pursue education and research in Hong Kong. High-value study tour Hong Kong initiative will be introduced in Taiwan, Hong Kong secondary school students experience Hong Kong firsthand. Additionally, the UGC will allocate $14 million to support 8 publicly funded universities in expanding their promotional efforts both internationally and in the mainland. In view of the significant increase in applications from non-local students, local institutions have admitted self-financing non-local students beyond the regular quota. We will raise the cap on non-local student admissions from 40% to 50%. For publicly funded research postgraduate programs, the cap on self-financing admissions beyond the regular quota will also be increased from 100% to 120%. These adjustments aim to support the expansion of post-secondary institutions, enhance quality, and foster a more international and diverse campus environment, further advancing Hong Kong's development as a global hub for post-secondary education. I'd like to reassure local parents and students that the adjustment will not affect local students' opportunities for admission. The annual quota of 15,000 publicly funded places for local students remains unchanged. The number of places available for local students in funded programs will not be reduced. Universities will adopt a prudent and responsible approach, admitting non-local students beyond the quota only when conditions permit and teaching quality will be maintained. Tuition fees charged will be set at a level sufficient to cover all additional direct costs, ensuring the proper use of public funds. The development of the Northern Metropolis University Town will provide additional land for post-secondary education sector, creating space for Hong Kong institutions to expand their academic and research activities. In alignment with the government's creation of the Committee on the Development of Northern Metropolis and the Working Group on the Planning and Construction of University Town, the Bureau will participate in a working group to accelerate the development of the town. Regarding student accommodation, in response to the rising number of non-local students, we will supplement the Student Hostel Development Fund with market-driven solutions to expedite the supply. Measures include enhancing the convenience of hostel in the city scheme, which now covers redevelopment of old commercial buildings into brand-new student hostels. In terms of basic education, the government supports the robust development of the international school sector to meet the demand for school places from non-local families, thereby attracting and retaining global talent. Furthermore, the government will support primary and secondary schools in contributing to the development of Hong Kong as an international education hub. As a pilot initiative, the Education Bureau will allow DSS schools to apply for an increase in number of classes and students per class, enabling them to admit non-local students holding student visas. The DSE has gained widespread recognition. We will continue to promote HKDSE through various channels, both locally and internationally, further enhancing its global acceptance and expanding higher education pathways for candidates. In response to the advent of AI and in alignment with the national strategy of revitalizing the country through science and education, we will further enhance the digitalization of education. This includes reserving $2 billion under the QEF to support digital education in primary and secondary schools. In 2026, we will publish a digital education blueprint for primary and secondary school, which include enhancing the curriculum that bridges primary and secondary levels in information and innovation technology, establishing a framework for AI literacy, integrating AI education into core curriculum, strengthening AI training for teachers, introducing corporate resources to support implementation. We'll also review the curriculum design to nurture more students in these fields. The fundamental mission of education is to cultivate virtue and character. We will, the Love Our Home, Treasure Our Country series will be regularized and expanded. These will strengthen cross-school and cross-sector collaboration, helping students to deepen their national identity. The Senior Secondary Chinese History and History curriculum will be enhanced, and Mainland Exchange Study Tour will include red resources to enrich students' understanding. We will place strong emphasis on students' physical and mental well-being. We institutionalize a 3T emergency response in secondary school. We will continue to promote the 4Rs mental health charter across campuses and expand parent education. Through cross-departmental collaboration, schools will be provided with more services, activities, and programs to strengthen their resilience. Teachers are the cornerstone of education. The government is committed to enhancing the quality and professional ethics of teachers. In response to the rising societal expectations, we will review the teacher registration system to ensure that it remains relevant and upholds professional standards. Through amendments to the teachers' registration mechanism under the Education Ordinance, we will introduce a practicing certificate requirement to ensure all teachers employed in Hong Kong schools are suitable and qualified. Education is the foundation of long-term development and the key to nourishing talent. We will continue to enhance the quality of education, cultivating young people to become lifelong learners who are virtuous, capable, responsible, visionary, and patriotic, driving Hong Kong's education towards high standards of excellence. Thank you.
Now over to the Secretary for Labour and Welfare, please. Good afternoon, citizens and media friends. I'll spend about 5 minutes to tell you about the major policy initiatives on manpower, labour, social welfare and poverty alleviation. On talent, as mentioned by the Chief Secretary just now, in the latest world ranking, we have climbed to the 4th spot around the world and first in Asia. This shows that over the past 2 to 3 years, we have achieved significant results in our talent policies. We will continue to build Hong Kong into an international hub for high-caliber talent. In terms of attracting talent, I understand that we are all very concerned about labor issues. I'll spend some time to talk about the policy address, that is, the measures proposed in the policy address to protect labor. These measures target 2 types of jobs, that is junior cooks and waiters. I'll talk about why we have selected these 2 job types. Under the Enhanced Supplementary Labor Scheme, there are over 200 job types covered. We lack manpower for a lot of jobs. For the F&B sector, we need dishwashers, we need also those manning warehouses. For these job types, we see a long-term manpower crunch. However, for waiters and junior cooks, in terms of the application numbers as well as arrival numbers, they are among the top for these job types. For workers already in Hong Kong under the labor implication scheme, about 32,000 workers are imported. Half of them are in the catering sector, and among them half are working as waiters as well as junior cooks. That's why we think there is a need for us to impose a more stringent manning ratio requirement. And for the recruitment period, we will extend it from 4 weeks to 6 weeks. Also, employers who want imported workers will have to attend at least once a week a job fair at the Labour Department's job centres. Also, instead of looking at the number of posts, we look at specific posts. That means for every imported waiter or imported junior cook, you must employ or have already employed 2 local full-time junior cooks and 2 local full-time waiters. And for those who have already applied for a visa extension, even if they got the application before this rule takes effect, they will have to adhere to the same rule. That means if they fail to meet the manning ratio of 1 to 2, they will not be allowed to import workers for these 2 posts. This is to ensure jobs for local workers first. And also, there is a way for us to stringently gate to when the schemes or the relevant rules are being complied with. And also, we will introduce a legislative proposal to improve the compensation mechanism for work injuries of digital platform workers. And also, we will continue to offer more courses that are skill-oriented for local workers. As for targeted poverty alleviation, this is close to many people's hearts, and I want to mention one thing here. We're all concerned about the CSSA recipients for the elderly, because they may not be able to use the CSSA scheme. able-bodied CSSA recipients would like to come up with incentives to encourage these people to reach the CSSA scheme. We'll have to look at the details. Overall speaking, so depending on your situation, you may be able to get a few $1,000s of cash allowance if you have left the CSSA scheme. We want to, through the cash allowance, encourage more people to leave the CSSA. Now, I'd like to move on to elderly care, measures to support carers and persons with disabilities, and lastly, measures for children. Every year, we increase the number of service places for elderly people. This year, we have added the places for residential care vouchers for elderly by 4,000. For newly developed districts with more middle-class people, we'd like to have more elderly care homes that are operated by community organizations. There's a sector for a district in Kaifeng, and it has a lot of middle class there, and we'd like to test out the new operational model there. Now turning to support for carers, over the past 3 years we've done a lot of work. We have the 24/7 1823 hotlines. We also have the dedicated portal for carers. We also have a territory-wide promotional campaign. Now we want to make use of big data analytics so that we can build a carer support database. And as mentioned by the Chief Executive, every year $500 million will be earmarked for this so that we can have enough resources to support carers. For the support for persons with disabilities, every year, again, we increase the number of service places for them. I'm not going to go into the details here. For measures for children, there is a measure for those aged between 0 and 3. We're also concerned about support for infants aged between 0 and 2. We believe that in the coming 3 years, there will be 15 new aided childcare centers, providing about 1,500 service places. We will focus on taking care of infants aged between 0 and 2. Lastly, for children with special needs, we have preschool rehabilitation services for those in kindergartens. This has been very successful and popular among parents and schools. We will enhance the scheme. For those who have been promoted to primary one, we will provide bridging support so that they can be better adapted to life experiences. That's all from me. 可以介紹下我哋問。
We to outline key initiatives in FY18 to attend to important youth development. So since we started our term, we announced the youth development program. So the policy address, we will launch the youth talent development program. Over the past couple of years, we can see that young people have been really excellent in terms of their linguistic proficiency, their creativity, and so on. We do need to have a platform and offer more opportunity for young people to chase their dreams. So we put together this youth talent development program. It covers 4 areas. First, we will provide young people with more opportunities to participate in internships in international organizations and international collaborations from a global perspective. Second, we will provide Hong Kong youth with an opportunity to understand the media environment and industry operations in the mainland. Third, we will deepen the current youth financial education program. And finally, we will have the new mediation workshop to enable young people to master the basic concepts of mediation. We'll continue to promote exchange and internship for young people in mainland and overseas and encourage young people to come to Hong Kong. Next Saturday on September 27th, we will be hosting the second Youth Development Summit, connecting the world and forging forward. Key leaders in charge of youth policies in mainland Hong Kong and overseas, as well as leaders in the industry, will be invited to serve as guest speakers to share their valuable insights in technological innovation, cultural creativity, and unleashing the potential of young people. We encourage you to take part in this event. Last year's policy address proposed transforming the high-tech community isolation facility into a youth development facility. The HYAB has stepped up efforts to implement this project, with the youth hostel now operational since July this year. The hostel has hosted a number of youth activities and operating groups is preparing for its official opening this year. As for the community care, we will focus on the following areas. The first phase of the care team will end in late September and October this year. The care teams in each community have nearly completed their work according to the KPIs. As you understand, the care team members are all volunteers. They have actively engaged with the served community residents. As of the end of August 2025, care teams have visited approximately 580,000 elderly households and other residents in the youth development with approximately 89,000 rounds in household and other support services, and approximately 45,000 local activities. The team also provides support services during emergencies. To date, the team has been mobilized to assist in approximately 1,500 emergencies, assisting something like 500,000 people. Preparations for the second phase of the care teams are underway. We will fine-tune the system along three areas: continuous and uninterrupted services responsive to local needs, and deeper and broader coverage. To further tailor care services to local needs, the government has assessed the service coverage. 3 new care teams have been added based on local needs, bringing the total number of care teams to 455 across Hong Kong. Maintaining good building management is always the responsibility of the owners. The government's role is to play a facilitating role, assisting owners to fulfill their responsibilities in managing their buildings. The HAD's key initiatives in coming year include: first, setting up a working group under the district councils. The group will be established in 18 district councils to allow councillors to discuss building management issues and share experience to enhance the effectiveness of the work. Second, we'll be co-organizing forums with the property management industry authority to allow all sectors to share best practices. Third, based on the effectiveness of the joint property management pilot program, it will be extended out to other regions. We will launch, or the HAD, in fact, launched the first phase of the program. It has been progressing pretty well. District organizations have contacted more than 100 buildings in total, of which 55 have signed letters of intent to participate in the pilot scheme, of which 13 have agreed to joint tendering and are currently preparing the joint tender documents with the hope of implementing joint property management as soon as possible. Fourth, the BMO will be reviewed. That's ICAP 344 to formulate proposals to further optimize the ordinance. The government is committed to building a harmonious, inclusive, caring society by providing appropriate services and support to ethnic minorities. The HAD provides various support services through 10 support service centers for EMs to help them integrate into the community. To further strengthen the services, the HAD will establish the EM care team in each of the 2 support service centers serving North District and Islands District in 2026 to cater for the expected growth. The HAD will also establish one more team in each of the 2 centers. And in these 10 centers, we will establish the youth networks and the women's networks to provide more services specifically for the ethnic minorities. The government will also open an EM interpretation and translation service center in December this year to alleviate the inconvenience faced by the EMs facing language barriers. The government is committed to promoting women's development, and we will consolidate resources and increase annual allocation to the Women's Empowerment Fund to $30 million. We just held the first Hong Kong Family and Women Development Summit last year, and we will organize more of the same following the 2024 summit, and the government will also host the second Hong Kong Family and Women's Development Summit next year. The Bureau launched its first She Inspires mentorship program this year, which received an enthusiastic response and successfully recruited 53 female leaders to serve as mentors and 83 mentees. To enable more female university students to participate in the program, the government will increase the number of mentees for the second cohort by 50% to 120. Thank you very much.
Now I open the floor for questions. Please ask questions related to the theme today. Please identify the organization you represent, and also please ask no more than 2 questions. The reporter on the right. Good afternoon, I'm from One Way Po. I have a question for Secretary Choi on digital education. It is said that a digital education blueprint will be promulgated next year. Do you have the relevant information that you can disclose? Also, how will you make use of the $2 billion of fund earmarked? Also, you said you will review the curriculum for senior secondary students. And what are your thoughts on the assessment system? Now, another question for Mr. Chris about VPAT. What will be the arrangement for the graduates under the new VPAT scheme for the graduates? And also, how will they be able to look for jobs, and what are the employers' feedback on this? Perhaps I will first respond to the questions concerning education. On the $2 billion of fund earmarked under the Quality Education Fund, it is mostly to support the development of digital education. In the previous policy address, we announced the setting up of a steering committee overseeing digital education-related matters. We have been working very hard, and we want to respond to the latest trend of application of AI. In the blueprint, it will cover how we're going to improve AI education for primary and secondary students. We'll make sure that there will be good bridging support for these students. We'll also have an AI learning framework. It is a learning framework for students, and we'll also set out the arrangements for the professional training and development of teachers. We'll also encourage schools to make good use of the e-learning ancillary scheme. Now, on the senior secondary school curriculum, we want to make use of AI, and we want to equip our students with better knowledge in mathematics as well as science subjects, so that they can cope with the latest trend and they can adapt to the university learning environment. So it is mostly an adjustment to the structure. On VPAT, when we rolled out the scheme, we already had decided on the visa arrangement for students. This is a vocational and professional program. For those who intend to stay in Hong Kong, they'll have to study the related subjects. We want these students to stay in Hong Kong because we want to deal with the manpower crunch. So it is visa-free for those students who have graduated from the VPAT program to stay in Hong Kong. I believe it's not hard for students to look for jobs for VPAT graduates. This is because the program is exactly for the jobs which are seeing a manpower shortage in Hong Kong. I'd like to supplement. AI education is going to be a major policy initiative for us, as we know that AI has been widely adopted. Not only in science subjects, we can make use of AI learning for humanities subjects, for example. So the earlier our students get in touch with AI, the better. We do not want our students to fall behind other students, so they have to be familiar with AI. That's why we are sparing so much effort in incorporating AI learning into the curriculum. It will be a compulsory subject so that our primary and secondary school students will be familiar with this kind of skill as early as possible. The lady in blue and green over there. I'm from cable TV. I have a question for Dr. Christine Choi. You said you would review the teacher registration system. What will teachers have to do if their registration gets revoked? If their registration gets revoked, what will happen if they apply for registration again? Now, for non-local student places, the rate will be increased to 50%, while you said that admission for local students will not be compromised, but we only have limited resources. Will the increase in quota for non-local students have an impact on local students? And will you continue to increase the student quota for non-local students? Now we will review the teacher registration system, and we will consider introducing a practice certificate system. Well, teachers is a very professional job. We attach very much great importance to teachers' professionalism and their code of conduct. Around the world, many professionals hold professional certificates. Given this trend, I believe that our teachers have to move with the times so that they can take care of the diverse needs of our students. This is in response to our community's aspiration as well as high expectation for the level of professionalism of our teachers. That's why we are introducing the practice certificate system. As for under what circumstances will teachers have their registration revoked? Last year, or perhaps 2 years ago, we already published a professional code of conduct for teachers, and it clearly sets out the 8 requirements for teachers. And it also sets out situations where teachers would commit misconduct or breach the rules. We have currently the registration system in place. Teachers have to hold a license, and so this is a comprehensive system. There will be warnings, there will be procedures to take follow-up actions, and for most serious cases, teachers may have their licenses revoked under the existing mechanism. As for the new practice certificate system, we actually hope teachers can move with the times. We hope that they can pursue professional development and training. We also have to look at the conduct of teachers to see whether they have breached any rules. For example, have they committed any crimes that they did not report? So all these are to protect the professional image of our teachers, as well as to protect the well-being of our students. As for the increase of non-local student places, actually last year we proposed to increase it to 40%. This year we'll raise it to 50%. Last year, schools actually admit students in a very prudent manner, so the student quotas were not exhausted. We see that many non-local students are very keen to apply for enrollment in local schools, so we hope that post-secondary institutions would have bigger room to admit more students. Of course, this is just the ceiling. It is not a target for post-secondary students. If the relevant schools or institutions do not have the hostels or the teaching team, well, of course, it will take time for them to expand the team as well as the relevant hardware. Now we are raising the number of non-local students places to 50%. This is to give more flexibility to post-secondary education institutions so that they can make better long-term planning for themselves. As for whether this ceiling will be further enhanced, it will depend on the supply of student hostels as well as the progress of us building ourselves into an international education hub. Of course, there are measures to help speed up the building of hostel places. Perhaps I can supplement on the point about the practice certificate system. I believe we all agree that education is crucial to Hong Kong, and teachers are also crucial. So we care whether our teachers have reached a certain level of professional standards. Now, for this proposed registration system, say a teacher has possessed the registration and he or she has taught for a year, and afterwards, over a period of 10 years, the teacher stopped teaching and then he wants to work again as a teacher. Would the teacher have to, for example, pursue further studies before becoming a teacher again? This is what we care about. We believe that in order for teachers to attain a certain level of professionalism, we need to rely on the practice certificate system. And the purpose of this is not to give a hard time to our teachers. It is to maintain the level of professionalism of our teachers. That's our objective. And this certificate system has nothing to do with teachers' registration. The registration will remain valid for teachers even with the introduction of this new certificate system. We just want to make sure that teachers can maintain a certain level of professionalism. Same for social workers as well as lawyers. Where necessary, they have to take courses. Say, for example, when some of the teachers got their registration, there hadn't even been the technology of AI. So we need teachers to update themselves on this trend to maintain their level of professionalism. This is also to benefit our students. So please bear in mind that this new system is not to give a hard time to teachers.
Gentleman Brown, please.
TMHK. So first of all, about the increased non-local student quota in post-secondary education. So besides setting aside land for more bed places, how would the government address concerns such as the lack of space in the library and also that adjustments to class sizes may worsen teaching quality? So also there will be a study looking into improving the teaching registration mechanism. So any more details of what the study will be looking at? Thank you.
Okay, for the raise of the non-local students quota to 50%, actually, as I have just mentioned, that we are closely working with the UGC fund universities to make sure that the increased number of the non-local students will not affect the teaching quality and also the quota for our local students. Actually, the 15,000 first-year first degree quota keep unchanged. So I think we don't need to worry. And the universities will make use of the resources allocated to, or charge from the local students to upgrade the students, the university's facilities to employ more, to have strengthen their teaching faculties. So we can see this. They keep the high quality of learning and teaching, including hardware and software. And for the, as we just discussed in the previous question, how we enhance the registration mechanism for the school teachers, including impose the practicing cert to the teachers' registration or in the requirement to teach in school. Because I think I want to emphasize again, the practicing certificate is a positive and responsible step. It's not about distrusting teachers. It's about supporting them to be their best and ensuring every student gets the excellent education they deserved. It's how we keep the teaching profession strong, respected, and ready for the future. So we emphasize on the teachers' professional requirement, their relevant teaching experiences, and they keep their professional conduct.
好，下一位右手邊第三行黑色衫位。
The one in black on the third row. Ming Pao Daily, Secretary for Education, about this registration system. Now, let me put it this way. In the policy address, there is no mention anywhere in the policy address. Why is it mentioned only in the supplement and not so much in the policy address? Or is it the case that it is not, it doesn't warrant mention in the policy address as of now? Now, the CS mentioned that some teachers may be out of service for a long time and they would like to join the service again. Of the 160,000 registered teachers, how many teachers are out of service? Do you think that they should be updated? They should upgrade themselves before they join the profession? The teachers should have the most updated information. Why do you need this practicing certificate? Do you have any numbers for the teachers being struck off in 2025? Now, imported labour. The labour sector is crying foul about the unemployment situation in Hong Kong. Now, can you apply the ratio of 2:1 to all the jobs, or can you have a short-circuit mechanism? Why don't you consider more rigorous measures? And also on carers, I know that the administration would like to give the best possible support. In the policy address, it is silent on any new measures to provide support to the carers. Do you think that the existing services are good enough? That you may have the $500 million budget. Are you going to be ramping up the level there? Now, let me say this first. What I said was no more than an example. I'm not suggesting there are many teachers like this. I'm just citing an example. Yes, and you mentioned why this doesn't appear in the policy address but only appear in the supplement. The chief executive's policy address covers the policies across different bureaus. It is important to get the message across. As the CS said a moment ago, there may be some examples of teachers being out of service for 10 years. That is no more than an example. The requirement of a practicing certificate is intended to make sure that the teachers would move on with the times. Now, in the teaching profession, people are there for years, decades on end, and they would devote their whole life to education. And the world they face today is so much different from the day when they graduated. If they have been out of the profession for such a long time, and if they are outdated in their knowledge, then it will not stand the students in good stead. It will be irresponsible to the students. We are positive that most of the teachers are up to scratch. So when we look at the practicing certificates, the impact on the serving teachers would be negligible. Now, as to the number of teachers who are out of service, we have 160,000 registered teachers in the data bank. Practicing teachers, the number stands at 70,000. As to the teachers who are not teaching, where are they? They may be continuing their education. They may be in other trades. They may be out of service for some personal reasons. So there may be a combination of reasons. Take myself, for instance. I am a registered teacher, but I'm not teaching in a school premises, but I'm also involved in business to do with education. So there are many teachers who may not necessarily be teaching in the day-to-day life, but they're still working in the education sector. Now, we will consider that. Now, for new graduates, they have the latest knowledge. And how can they get the practicing certificate? Now, it's important that they are employed and they have the registration, and then they would be entitled to the practicing certificate. So as to the implementation details, we will maintain close liaison with the education sector. We will also be in discussion with the DOJ and the legal profession. Speaker's not speaking through. Indeed, we do have the 3-year, 150-hour target. From the statistics, most of the teachers are surpassing the target in the training. For serving teachers, prospective teachers would like to have a really robust training requirements for them. And the teachers are fulfilling all these requirements. We are confident that this idea, this requirement of a practicing certificate is actually in response to the needs of the times. It is in response to the latest trend. Let me add about the policy address. The supplement is providing additional information to the policy address proper. It forms a part of the policy address. So you have to bear in mind this is very much part of the policy address. You have to read them together. SLW, let me address your question about the enhanced supplementary labor scheme. The CE made it very clear that we have to look at the context. And in 2018, our workforce has hit the peak. The workers are really getting on in years. The skilled workers, semi-skilled workers, 30% of them are approaching the age of 60. We appreciate that Hong Kong is undergoing economic transformation. In some sectors, they might experience more difficulties. So we'd like to focus on the sectors that are of more concern and put in place more specific requirements. I did cite 2 examples. Dishwashing, there are 1,800 dishwashers in Hong Kong. We're running short of people, and there are 900 people working in the egg and fish sector. In the laundry sector, we have 500 imported to Hong Kong, helping out Now, we are concerned about the junior cooks and the waiters and waitresses. I would like to be more targeted to make sure that we will, first of all, give top priority to the local workers. It's only when we're running short that we will bring in the workers. As to for the carers, we've done so much over the years. Now, we have to understand that the best help to the carers is to offer help to the person that they are caring for. So we're using our data to identify these people and offer targeted support. We give occasional care, temporary support, or temporary care so that they can have a respite. You mentioned the carers allowance. That's in relation to the low-income people. Now, we're spending $400 million for 10,000 people. I think we have to use the resources judiciously. Where possible, we will offer our assistance, but we have to bear in mind the availability of resources.
In the interest of time, we will take the last two questions. The lady in the last row on the left.
First, as for the practicing certificate, how regularly will teachers have to renew the certificate? And why was there no consultation before the Bureau planned to do so? Which countries will the Bureau take reference to when formulating such a system? Second, the policy address suggests schools under direct subsidy scheme could expand their overseas students with student visas, but why mainland students are not allowed to be included in this initiative by loosening the requirement of student visas? Why government and aided schools are not included in this measure, as they also want to admit non-local students? Thank you very much.
So for the first question about the practicing certificate for the teachers, I think the details we will closely work together with the sector and also seek the legal advice. So we will announce the details when it's ready. And for why there's no consultation, I think we always keep a close contact with the different stakeholders on their expectations and requirements for the teachers professional. So we know that actually this is not a new thing. We have discussed so many times in the legislative chamber about the teachers professional, the teachers registration, etc. And for the why we open the or we extend direct subsidized schools to include to accept more non-local students on the basis of self-financing, or they have to pay the cost for the school fees. Because we, when we develop Hong Kong into an international education hub, the basic education sector always want to have some contributions in this part. And we think that the direct subsidized schools are more ready to take up more non-local students because they can provide non-local curriculum and the medium of instructions, and also some of the direct subsidized schools, they have the accommodations. So we think about the supporting measures, the readiness of the schools, so we start from the direct subsidized school. Why the non-local students exclude the students from mainland Macau and Taiwan? Because we have the mutual understanding or consensus with the mainland counterpart that we won't issue at this stage for the student visa for the minors. So there's no non-local students from the mainland under the age of 18. And for the, why not include the aided and government school at the stage? Because the aided and the government schools, they provide only local curriculum, and most of the schools are taught in Cantonese, or the medium of instructions are mother tongue. So for this time, we are targeted, and for the local students from overseas, I think the direct subsidized schools are more ready to take up this, and we are running this on a trial basis, and we will consolidate or conclude the experience to see if whether the aided and government schools can have the the necessary supporting measures to taking care of the non-local students from overseas. Thank you.
好，最後一條提問，尾右手邊尾二嗰行中間。
The last question. The lady in green in the middle. Good afternoon. I'm from Economic Journal. I have a question for Dr. Christine Choi. According to LegCo members, the government did not consult LegCo members on the new practicing certificate system. Same when the government abolished the $2,500 student grant. I want to know whether the government consulted any bodies before rolling out this policy. Was there anything wrong with the communication between the government and LegCo members? Also, you mentioned that you expect teachers to pursue further professional development. Are there any requirements to be imposed on teachers in this regard? On the new policy initiatives mentioned, as mentioned, we will continue to communicate with the relevant stakeholders, including LegCo members. For policies that are included in the policy address, we may not have discussed in detail with these relevant LegCo members. As mentioned, there has been discussions about reviewing the teacher registration system, so this is not a new thing. We also undertook to review the registration system where appropriate. Of course, in terms of the implementation details, we will continue to communicate with the education sector on the requirements for teachers to pursue further professional development. This is not just confined to relevant subjects. For the latest mandatory reporting mechanism on child abuse, we want students to be updated about the relevant knowledge as well. Say, for example, if there are any new laws or problems that arise that concern children's mental health, for example, we want teachers to be aware of them as well. For teachers that have to take up management work, apart from teaching, and for teachers to learn about the whole person development needs of students, we will include these subjects in the relevant training courses. This is the end of the press conference. Thank you. We report to the LegCo, but we don't have the relevant figures yet. As mentioned, the objective is to enhance the level of professionalism of teachers. Thank you. We have to get ready for the next press conference.